Namaskar. Today we are starting a new course which is called The Most Important Principles of Life. I'm going to talk about the very foundation of yoga and the very foundation of progressive life. All of us, we want to be happy, feel harmony, and most importantly, to feel inspired, to feel that life is throbbing within your heart. That is how we want to live. But for that, body and mind have to be maintained in a very sound and healthy condition. And the practice of yoga attempts to do just that. When we hear word yoga, we understand that it is a certain discipline, physical discipline, exercises. Some other people know that yoga is not only physical postures, but also a science of breath, how to breathe properly, how to control the breath. And the science of breathing is both physical and mental, controlling the body and mind. And some other people, they also know that yoga includes also mind exercises, which is meditative practices. So all of these are extremely efficient techniques. The world, the humanity, have understood that yoga is efficient, is powerful. So nowadays about 200 million people are practicing yoga almost every day. And it spreads by the word of mouth. Someone tries and then advises to the friends, you should try yoga, because of its efficiency. Meditation is also very efficient, but some people, actually not some, most of us, when we first try to do meditation, we sit, we close our eyes, and we don't feel any peace, we don't feel any bliss or inspiration that we're supposed to feel. We just see that mind explodes with thousands of thoughts, with images, with words, with sounds, and no any experience of transcendental realm. So this is because for the meditation, mind has to be prepared. The mind has to have base. The mind has to be in a balanced condition. Then immediately meditation will start working. Immediately you will feel inspiration. You will feel this practice has become very rewarding practice. So for the yogis who aspire to explore consciousness, to explore the cosmic consciousness, to understand infinity, which is all done within the mind, we have to attain a certain very balanced state of the mind. It is the action that either pushes us forward in the evolution, that builds up our mind, that is playing as a constructive force, and it is the action that degenerates the mind. So some actions, they are beneficial, and some actions are harmful. Thought is another kind of action. Thought is an action, speaking is an action, and physical action through your organs, the motor organs, is also action. So action either will make you healthier or will plant the seed of sickness within the body and mind. You have seen in the world there are some people, you just look at them, immediately you feel happier. You want to smile. Also there are people, you look at them, you get depressed. What is the difference? When we do something which is in line with our conscience, we become stronger. We acquire the power of our spirit. And when we do something that goes ultra-vires to conscience, the mind becomes weaker. The mind becomes poisoned. We acquire a certain distortion of the mind. that distortion, if it is just one distortion, disturbs a little. And if there are many distortions, it creates, this world becomes a hell. It becomes a place of suffering. So as we grow up from childhood to old age, it depends on what patterns of behavior we adopted. Either we grow into divine beings, or we slowly degenerate into the hellish creatures. And it all depends on the actions that we do, on the thoughts that we think. For example, if I lie, if I distort the truth, my mind, for a moment, has to become very crooked. It has to become like this. And that mind is no more in contact, is no more in connection with the straight spirit. The spirit, the spiritual part of us is very straight. It is not, it is based on truth. It is the supreme truth. So when the mind deviates from truth, it bends. And that bended, curved mind is not able to resonate, is not able to receive the vibration, the impetus of the spiritual realm, and the mind becomes weaker. Slowly, the light of the spirit becomes very much dimmed, and the person doesn't see. He sees this world as a place of suffering, and wherever he goes or she goes, he creates disharmony. Similarly, if the person is in tune with his spirit, with his conscience, wherever he or she goes, he creates harmony, he creates beauty. So yogis observed that, they understood the power of action, the power of behavior, and the power of thoughts. And they created a set of principles called yama and niyama, or another pronunciation is jama and niyama. So in those principles, first 5 called jamas, jama is there to control our external behavior, to prevent the mind from acquiring more distortions. So our mind, by following jama, our mind will not degenerate and will not become more polluted. And niyama principles are there because we have already acquired a lot of distortions. So now those distortions, they have to be cleaned up, they have to be purified, they have to be purged out of the mind. So niyama principles are for that. So 10 of them together. I will shortly enumerate them. Ahimsa, not inflicting harm on others by thoughts, words, and actions. Satya, benevolent truthfulness. Asteya, non-indulging into stealing. Brahmacharya, educating the mind to see the divine within everyone and everything. Aparigraha, decreasing our dependence on the material necessities, or even on the psychic necessities, and relying more and more on the spiritual aspect of life. This is 5 jamas, and then 5 niyamas. Shaucha, purifying the mind and the body. Santosha, learning how to live with contentedness, how to be happy with what we have. Tapa, enduring hardship to elevate our own minds and to help elevate the minds of others. Svadhyaya, studying, trying to understand the world and our position in it. Studying the spiritual science, studying the material science, and trying to find the truth. And then finally, Ishvara Pranidhana, accepting the ultimate reality as the final source of our happiness, and establishing, creating a passage to the spiritual world, making the spiritual world accessible for yourself. That is Ishvara Pranidhana. So these are 10 principles. These principles, actually in the beginning, when we start practice, we think that technique is everything. That I do this asana, I do this pranayama, I do this meditation. This which will work. And yes, these are powerful techniques, but they can be this much efficient. You can do 100 years meditation and nothing. Or they can be this much efficient. If we work on the base, the miraculous changes occur in our mind. I remember one time I was doing a seminar in one city, and for 3 days I never spoke about any yoga, any meditation. We only spoke about these principles, moral principles of Yama and Niyama. And after 3 days, one lady wrote me a letter. She said, "Dada, something miraculous have happened in my life. I was deeply upset with my mother. She was upset with me. We didn't talk for 5 years. At my work, also, I had very bad relationships. I didn't even start to apply these principles that we talked about, but I started to think about them. And the flow of my mind changed. All of a sudden, an attraction occurred between me and my mother, and we came to some sort of peace. We started to talk, and our relations start to improve. What is this? How does it work?" I have observed many miraculous transformations. Even if you don't follow all of them, these principles, but you take one, sincerely study and understand, and sincerely, even for 1 week, you try to apply in your life, you will see. Your meditation will shoot into the... you will really experience change. You will really experience energy. Many people may think that, oh, but we follow these principles by default. It is natural. Yes, they're natural, but nobody actually follows them. If you really sincerely self-analyze yourself, you will find that there is a lot of scope to improve. So, in the coming series of videos, I'm going to explain these principles one by one, and we'll try to inspire yourself and myself to practice it better. And then I hope you will give some feedback in the comments and tell how you felt, how you changed, what happened to your mind and the body. And once again, that we should demonstrate, we should prove that these principles are very, very important. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and you can subscribe to this channel. I will also be very grateful if you share this video. Who knows, maybe someone will receive it in proper time and someone will awaken and his life will take other, more positive direction. Thank you very much.